Welcome everyone to another video, and in this video we're going to be featuring some battles that I did on stream. I actually did 6 sets with this team, and I went 18 and 12. Pretty solid. It was triple shadows, as the thumbnail and title implies. Shadow Machamp. My Shadow Machamp is 15, 14, 12. Shadow Metagross, best buddied, 15, 12, 15. And then my 100% Shadow Snorlax. And these are the movesets: Counter, Rock Slide, Cross Chop, Bullet Punch, Meteor Mash, Earthquake, and then Lick, Body Slam, and Superpower. And in my opinion, Shadow Machamp performed a lot better than the regular Machamp, so I definitely recommend it. Shadow Metagross was decent. It was definitely like way better against like Dragonite and whatnot. And then the Snorlax honestly was like a little bit disappointing, just because like Best Buddy regular Snorlax reliably beats Gyarados because it has the bulk and has the Lick Breakpoint. Versus Shadow Snorlax definitely really struggled here, and this team definitely struggles against Gyarados. I picked out 2 sets. These 2 sets I went 4-1. And a lot of really nice leads you pick up with Machamp. A lot of people leading Excadrill, leading Magnezone. Obviously, like Togekiss lead is really tough and almost like necessary that you win switch. But the Rock Slide is really nice coverage. So let's go ahead and get started with the battles here. I have it at 1.5 speed. So obviously not a good lead here. Instantly go into Snorlax, and this is like not okay. They actually go into Metagross here, so I do suspect that they are running double steal. I will shield this, and then honestly here, likely I should go Body Slam first, just because the superpower doesn't KO at this health range. It almost does, and you can see this after I do a few more licks, the second one almost KOs. I think it does like 30 something percent. So this debuff one will do like 20 something percent. Maybe the first one would KO there, actually. It would have been really close there. So I'm going to actually shield this, and then going to farm up a little bit. Obviously, I'm double debuffed here. They actually come into Excadrill here, which is actually pretty nice for me right now. So I was actually more afraid that they're going to come Dragonite and potentially try to farm me down. And they actually decide to throw here. They don't want to risk me getting to another superpower, which obviously would be pretty nice for me. And we're actually going to CMP tie because they threw exactly when they got to it. And this is okay. This almost KOs Shadow Machamp. Obviously, Shadow Machamp is super glassy here. I was a little bit worried about them catching, but there's not really too much I can do in that situation. I switch here, and this is definitely game over. Unless they had like Draco Meteor, and they would need like probably 6 more to make it to the Draco Meteor. So I'd make it to the Meteor Mash first. So pretty decent situation for me. So I have a Machamp into Excadrill, obviously very favorable matchup for me. Melodic here is super tanky and really awkward for me to deal with. So I do throw the Cross Chop here and then switch out. So this is the challenging part with with this team is like Snorlax is a really good safe switch, but generally what happens is they got a free Dragon Tail through there, which actually is not great for me. I do live the next one, but obviously I would prefer to have a little bit more health to prevent the possible farm down. The farm down would be very aggressive on their side, so I actually do bait. Just because the superpower like pretty much KOs the Excadrill, it just like barely lives it. So I do bait to force him to throw. Otherwise, I'd make it to the superpower, and they obviously don't want to burn 2 shields. As you can see, this lick damage did so much to the Excadrill already. They're probably like okay, they are actually double here. They obviously did. Let's see what they decide to do here. Gyarados, obviously very tough for this team. Dragon Breath, obviously a little bit easier for the Metagross since it does resist. But the crunch does so much to Metagross. So I'm actually gonna no shield this. I kind of have to. We both had the same idea here. They actually Aqua Tail me, and I actually don't want to win this match because I don't want to get farmed down by the Excadrill. So I force them to throw, and then I'm gonna look to counter down everything. They will they do have double Aqua Tail, which is fine. I'm going to tank it. Like, I'm not going to get much shot down by the Excadrill. It's actually going to be pretty close, but I really couldn't afford them farming down my Metagross. So, and I knew I could just counter down everything at the end. At least in my opinion, it might have been still okay because I still had a shield. So if I threw the Meteor Mash, like I get a few bullet punches in, and they were dry on Excadrill, so still like okay. Obviously, very bad lead, and this game was actually really close. I made like one critical error, or at least I should have been a little bit more aggressive. So they actually go to Garchomp, and the thing is, all those licks actually put them into Rock Slide range, which you'll see a little bit later in action. So I let this go, and then I'm gonna aggressively. They actually Sand Tomb. Oh yeah, because it's Dragon Tail. It's Dragon Tail. I think I'm gonna aggressively. I have to let this go. It's just a Sand Tomb. I have to aggressively farm down this Garchomp, and then I'm gonna switch out right away. They are a little bit locked in, so I do get one bullet punch, and that one bullet punch is enough for me to. So I do shield this because I need shields down to have any chance in this matchup. So I go up to the Earthquake and I throw the Meteor Mash. And at this point in time, I can't afford to shield because the Togekiss is like pretty close to the move. I do throw this Meteor Mash, and I believe this actually was a CMP tie. Yeah, it was a CMP tie, which is really nice for me. They are a double draw run. So what do I do here? Okay, they weren't quite a double draw run, but I have to farm down. And here I should have anticipated the switch. And I shouldn't have done the counter, because if I avoid doing the counter and just wait for it to come in, then I could have just landed the Rock Slide right away. And the Rock Slide does just enough to KO. And unfortunately, end up losing that matchup by 1 HP. If I would have just waited for the switch, because I could counter down the extra drill before it makes its turn move regardless. So a little bit of mistake on my side, but well played by my opponent. So this team does really well against Walrein. I face a couple Walreins. They come to Swampert. I will throw the Cross Chop just to chip it. Again, like Snorlax is a really good safe switch, but really poor counter switch Pokemon, especially behind energy. They will Earthquake me here, which is okay. And throw the Body Slam. And okay, I try to make the aggressive play and try to lick down, but they end up surviving with like 1 HP. I debated whether or not I should shield this because I do expect it to be a Garchomp in the back. This Walrein double ground is pretty interesting. I decide to shield, and then I think I throw the superpower. And then they actually no shield. And so I'm actually going to immediately swap into Metagross, and they have the same idea. They just don't want to get outraged, I guess, or something like that. I don't know. Or they want to have their Garchomp be as healthy as possible. This is a Sand Tomb. I was really hoping it was going to be a Dragon Tail Garchomp because Metagross actually has like a pretty okay matchup against Dragon Tail Garchomp. Actually, I would say Metagross is a counter to it. Obviously not a hard counter because they're obviously going to beat me in the 1-0. But this is okay. The Walrein has like 2 Powder Snows. I do win CMP. I could come in Snorlax, but I don't think the Body Slam would KO. So actually, I know it's going to be 5 more for the next one. So I actually count to 7 here, 7 counters, throw the Cross Chop, and then I'm going to be able to CMP tie the Walrein. And honestly, even if I don't CMP tie the Walrein, I can definitely just Body Slam it afterwards. So this wasn't like too big a deal in this situation. So I'm able to come out on top. Obviously, Garchomp, really tough Pokemon for this team. It basically can just Dragon Tail down the Machamp because Machamp is really glassy. But in that case, I was able to align it okay. Obviously, one lead there, and the Walrein really had not too many places to go, and they actually ended up sacking it, making a really nice prediction that I had Metagross in the back. So very nice lead. The zone. So they actually come into their own Machamp. I do expect it to be a Gyarados in the back. I think was what I ended up having here. So I actually switch out, and then Shadow Metagross has a pretty good matchup against regular Machamp. The counters are neutral because of the psychic typing. I'm able to actually bullet punch down before they make it to move, which is really nice for me. And I actually think I count to 6 here and throw the Meteor Mash, hoping to CMP tied to the Wild Charge. But they end up not throwing it. They're okay. And I actually think this is actually a this is CMP tie, which actually worked out really nicely for me. And yeah, that worked out really nicely for me. And I actually think they wild charged here, which I thought was interesting. They actually undercharged the wild charge, which is pretty nice. I guess the mirror shot wouldn't have KO'd, so that's part of the reason why they did. And they want to avoid me getting to the move, but obviously I overcharged. They do wild charge, and they come to Gyarados. The Gyarados is going to beat me to the move, and it will also win CMP. But and like Snorlax up a shield would do okay, but I'm just gonna Rock Slide. They have no shields left, and this does a tremendous amount of damage. And I'm gonna be able to switch and lick down. And this is looking pretty good here for me. They're dry on Magnezone, so I'm gonna be able to land the superpower and take out this Magnezone. Worked out pretty nicely for me. And I think that was the first set. Went 4-1, and I went 3-2, 3-2, 1-4. Then this obviously the fifth set, and they come into they safe switch into Tokius, and I actually think they just straight up leave this match. Generally, how I like to play that matchup is actually just one shield farm down, leaving at plenty of health, and then honestly the Metagross, the opposing Metagross has like a world of trouble because I'm going to be able to take both shields and force them to throw as well. So okay, obviously very bad lead. I need to try to win switch at almost all costs. They actually come into Kinkeldor. This is like Kinkeldor is also really tough for this team, just because it's tankier than Machamp, so these body slams don't do very much. And I was hoping that I potentially could get to 2 body slams, but this shield didn't really make too much sense on my side. Yeah, it didn't really make too much sense on my side. And I'm going to aggressively farm down, but I have to shield. And I know they're going to have a counter to Metagross in the back, so this is a kind of a lost situation in this case. The dynamic punch. I will be able to counter down, and then my opponent makes a very nice call by no shielding the Rock Slide. I was actually hoping that they would shield and I could farm something else down and make it the move, but they ended up no shielding. And obviously their Tokius would have lived, and they have a waterfall Gyarados at this point in time. So there wasn't really too much there. Even if I land the Rock Slide, and I throw here, I try to deny so I can try to get to another one. But honestly, I wouldn't have lived the next. I don't live the next waterfall anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And that they have an Aqua Tail for my Machamp. So double flyers was pretty tough for me there. But that's okay. Tokius lead is tough when I'm not able to control the switch, and Kinkeldor was going to be too challenging for me to deal with. So this is a nice lead for me, and they come into Gyarados. This is like why I'm not a huge fan of Shadow Snorlax in this team composition, just because it's not able to reliably beat the Gyarados, because the regular Snorlax would easily be able to tank 2 moves. But I think I shield this. And I farm up. I basically want to farm up so that if they come in Magnezone, they don't get that much of a farm, and I could potentially make it to a superpower. And I can't survive that one waterfall, so I'm actually going to go into Metagross and farm down. And then pretty sure there's going to be a Togekiss in the back. So I actually go up and throw the EQ, throw the Meteor Mash, and they actually just switch to Shadow Machamp. And this is like one of the hardest decisions to make, is to no shield this. They honestly shouldn't be showing this, but I no shield this, and they actually come into Togekiss. It actually worked out beautifully for me, because if they would have switched to Togekiss, then actually this would be a little bit of a complicated situation for me, because the Togekiss would have had quite a bit of energy coming out of the Machamp matchup, and then I would have to like perfectly farm it so that I have a Earthquake ready, and then I win CMP versus Magnezone, which is nice knowing this situation, and hoping that I would come out in this this matchup. So plus they didn't have a move yet on the Magnezone, so that worked out pretty nicely for me. And we have Machamp versus Haxorus, so I try to go for the extra counter. So how I prefer to play this is try to get the extra counter, and I do get the extra counter, and that as well I try to catch the Dragon Claw onto Metagross, because the Dragon Claw obviously doesn't do that much. They actually get the counter, and I wasn't sure if they're gonna under tap or go for it or like do another counter, and they actually do another counter, but I don't think they realized I switched, because they actually throw the Dragon Claw, which is actually pretty nice for me. They come into Excadrill, and I'm actually just looking to throw the Meteor Mash just to do some like significant chip damage. And they actually CMP tie. This is like really fortunate for me. So I do expect them to have Metagross in the back. So I'm gonna counter down, and again I expect Metagross to come out. And this is why I really like Shadow Machamp, just because these counters do so much damage. And like you're gonna fade to a Meteor Mash regardless if you're a Shadow or not. And I'm gonna throw the second one. I don't like transferring the Bullet Punch because I really don't need Machamp anymore. But I'd rather get like a lick in, and this is a very good situation here. This Haxorus is like almost KO'd at this point in time, so I'm gonna be able to lick down this Haxorus, even if they boost, which they actually do end up boosting. The counters do quite a bit, but I'm able to lick down, and then they have their Metagross, so worked out really nicely for me. And I think this is the last matchup I'm going to show. Again, I went like 18-12, not amazing. I definitely would have won probably like 2 or 3 more games with a regular Snorlax best buddy. There wasn't too many times where the Shadow Snorlax actually helped me. So I play this exactly like how I play with the Haxorus, so they actually lag. So I try to wait there. Actually get an extra counter in. So I shield this, and I think I give them one more counter. I was ahead anyways, because I did sneak one through, and they make actually a really nice catch. This is actually okay though, right? Because it's actually perfectly fine for me. Just because like again, Shadow Snorlax doesn't have the best matchup versus Gyarados, and so that little bit of chip damage is pretty nice for me. And again, I'm gonna try to lick down. They can get to 2 moves, because obviously they get to the Aqua Tail at the same time. They actually Hydro Pump me. This is actually okay for me, because I do expect it to be a steal in the back, and I prefer to get a little bit of energy advantage. And they come into Machamp. I believe they have a move, or they're 1 away from a move. I'm not going to shield regardless, and they cross shot. So I'm going to look to farm down. They actually make a move, which is pretty nice for them. So that a little bit more energy than I thought, and they actually survive with 1 HP. They come to Metagross. They're at 3 right now, or something like that. So I should be able to double EQ, and I have Best Buddy. They decide to not shield. They also have Best Buddy, so it would have worked. It would have been up to CMP, but I was like probably less than 5 away from another EQ, because I had quite a bit of energy. But I really like this team. Again, this team, I like the team with Shadow Machamp. I think you can go with regular or Shadow Metagross. The Shadow Metagross is better against like Dragonite, because you don't need Best Buddy for it. And then I think regular Snorlax with Best Buddy is superior than the Shadow for this variation. I think if you run Snorlax in the lead, then I think the Shadow one is really nice. But the regular one, Best Buddy, is better as a counter swap to a lot of Pokemon, just because it's able to tank moves a little bit better, and especially against the Gyarados, since it has the bulk and the breakpoint. But anyways, I had a lot of fun running this team. I'm gonna run a few other interesting variations in Master League Premier Classic. Let me know what else you want me to run. I was thinking about Walrein. I know there's a new Pokemon being potentially released for, or being released for the Valentine's Day event. So potentially, if I get like a hundo or really high IV of that one, potentially run that as well. So, but let me know what you think of this team. What do you think of these battles? I'm gonna leave there. If you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see everyone in the next video.